We have a couple of other smaller stories in the X Division, one of which is Austin Aries versus Roderick Strong.
Which is just a thing that happens.
Yeah, no build. It was meant to be Aries against Petey, but when Shocker no-showed, they moved Petey to Sabin and then brought in Strong for this. So it actually, good job, Shocker. Thank you.
Yeah, they gave us this.
That's actually worked out pretty well. I appreciate that.
Yeah, and we get to see Austin Aries again after appearing in the last pay-per-view against Daniels. Roderick Strong's done some TV.
Yeah, he popped up every now and again in the Asylum days. He did a bunch of Explosion, and yeah, he was on Impact. We've already had an AJ Strong match.
Yes, I did my whole thing on that.
We may have another AJ Strong match coming up soon.
Very good. Aries and Strong go out there and they work like an ROH match.
Yeah, this is two dudes who got like 8 minutes, but we want to use every second of this to try and earn a contract.
Yeah, and you don't blame them, and they stand out.
Especially as TNA are getting on Spike, it's just like, oh, national exposure is coming up? Yes, please sign us.
Yeah, exactly right. And you might have some more money for us too.
Roddy's came out to a fake Iron Man ripoff.
Of course, like many a pro wrestler in history.
Vote for Roddy. It's a Simpsons joke.
I gotcha.
It's a reference to the hit sitcom The Simpsons.
I'm unfamiliar. Could you explain it a bit more?
So there's this family of yellow people.
Okay.
Who live together in a house.
Yep.
And every episode is independent of one another. There is no long-term canon. It's like an anthology show when you think about it. So these people live in this house. There's this mother with the hair.
How long? We don't do bits anymore, Garrett.
Oh, it's a very famous sitcom starring Homer Simpson. He says so dope.
Ah, very good.
I would have went for another 15 minutes obscurely describing The Simpsons.
That's why I'm here now. I'm the professional of the team.
Getting us back on track.
Yep. Don West, once again proving avid Ring of Honor watcher, pointing out that they are in the same stable.
Yeah, as the crowd are chanting Generation X, Donna's like, oh, they're stablemates in Ring of Honor.
I can't believe it, but it's really proven a point. Don West, ROH stan, is a legitimate part of his character.
Yeah, everyone's telling him how great it is, and he starts watching, and then he knows all about the stories and the stables of Ring of Honor.
You gotta admire
it. Mike TNA mentions that they booked Austin Aries again because TNA received so many emails about him that they brought him back.
Makes a lot of sense.
It's just everyone emailing Dixie, being like, bring back Roddy. And Dixie's like, fine, I have a newborn at home, but I'll bring back Roddy.
Yeah, we've been sitting here watching ROH tapes for the last 7 hours.
Looking to who we can poach so we can take down Ring of Honor because we're jealous. Strong hits a gutbuster and a sick kick for a great near fall, but dropkick brainbuster 450 wins for Aries. It's about as good an 8-minute match as you're going to see. They just go nuts.
It's funny, you'd think that Aries was just going to kind of get an AJ push.
But I'd imagine he would probably lost this match if he was wrestling Petey.
Yeah.
So he accidentally tripped and fell his way into winning this one.
But he looks so good whenever he's on the show.
You can see a future TNA World Champion in him.
In 7 years.
It just takes a while, yeah.
And big gaps of not being there.
I don't know. Aries is great. Everything he does has snap and explosion on it.
Everything he does?
What doesn't have snap and explosive on
it? All right.
He doesn't tweet with snap.
You said everything he does.
Yeah, it looks great. Looks.
That's Garrett Kidney supports Austin Aries in every endeavor.
As a professional wrestler. He's good at wrestling. Like most problematic people, they're all good at wrestling. It's really annoying.
That's not what I'm hearing.
That does very much prepare you in life for separating art from artist. There's no industry that does that better than pro wrestling.
Yeah.
If you tried to approach wrestling with any kind of moral or ethical compass, you're like, I hate all these people and I can't watch this anymore.
Yeah. I mean, it's the same with film, right? You're like, oh, if a bad person was involved in the production of a film, I can't watch it. Well, then you're never watching anything.
It's like, I've come to terms with a number of pieces of shit who have talent.
God, what a somber reality.
The other X Division thing, we'll talk about the story that technically led to it that didn't end up happening, because it technically comes from the Chris Candido Memorial Tag Team Tournament. But Chris Sabin faces Petey Williams.
And they have a good Petey Williams-Chris Sabin match.
Yep, they've had this match a couple times, the best version of which is probably still their Turning Point 2004 match.
Oh, of course.
But this is a nice mid-card version of that match where at one stage Sabin does that razor's edge across the ring into the buckle and absolutely kills Petey, so thumbs up.
So cool.
Petey came out to Abyss's music too.
Maybe Abyss is just Canadian.
Maybe he is. No, he's working as part of America in the America versus Canada series on that house show, so he can't be Canadian.
Maybe he's the Canadian in that match.
He's wrestling Bobby Roode.
Yeah, noted American.
You're not wrong. He is billed from Wall Street eventually. No, you're not wrong.
Exactly.
And all that, we don't know where Abyss truly came from. We speculated he was accidentally summoned by James Mitchell and Raven doing his fake spooks.
He's summoned from hell via Canada,
which everyone knows is hell.
Hell, Michigan is right next to it.
Oh my god, it all adds up. He makes so much sense.
Again,
sometimes.
we don't do bits anymore. It's all serious analysis.
This is serious analysis. This is geography.
This is law, which is a major part of pro wrestling now.
Some would argue the most important part.
On many levels and in many different ways.
Sabin brought Petey up for the cradle shock. Petey raked his eyes. Sabin thought he had Petey when he grabbed the referee instead for the cradle shock.
I love this so much. This is so cool.
Then Petey went for the destroyer, but then Sabin instinctively countered into the cradle shock for the win.
That's some New Japan shit. Just in-ring storytelling lore.
If you'd remember, in the build-up to the Turning Point match last year, the story of that match was because Chris Sabin came up with Petey, trained under D'Amore, trained in the same training class, he had the counter to the Canadian Destroyer.
We better go through TNA history, like from this point where Sabin never takes the Destroyer.
Every time he just does, and it's such a smooth counter as well, because it's a counter straight into his own finish, which is what makes it awesome.
Yeah. God, Sabin, man.
He drops the one knee and brings Petey back up for the cradle shock. It beats him even though he's blinded.
If we ever get booking power, we're booking Petey Sabin, and that's the finish again.
Yeah, we're bringing him out of WWE-induced agent retirement to wrestle Chris Sabin again.
What was Petey's last match?
His first retirement match was against Sabin.
That makes sense.
The one in 2014 when he stepped away from wrestling, but then he returned. His last match, was it like TJP and Macklin?
Let me have a look. Matches. Petey Williams. His last match was in a... Well, do you want his last Impact match, or do you want his last real match?
Give me both.
His last Impact match was in the Call Your Shot Gauntlet Spot 20-man Battle Royal. 20-person Battle Royal, I assume. But yes, he was in that. His last real match in Impact was the X Division title tournament first round 3-way match against Macklin and Black Taurus. And his last match ever was in Whack Without a Cause. Is that Eric Cannon's thing?
I don't know.
No, that's a different one. He was in Without a Cause, and he wrestled Nick Wayne.
He passed on all of his knowledge and retired.
But the thing about Nick Wayne, too, that's interesting because he's definitely an X Division kid, right?
Oh, absolutely.
So him wrestling against Petey must have been a cool moment. He was also 15.
Also, it's one of those things where even if he wasn't an X Division kid...
He was via Ospreay.
Yeah, his inspiration was Ospreay, who was an X Division kid. So it's like the next step of X Division influence, even beyond the X Division.
Oh, this seems like a good show. You got Alan Angel's Titus Alexander on there.
Mm-hmm.
You got Chris Bay versus Keita Murray.
All he needs is one shot.
All he needs is one shot. Oh, is that who I think? No, it's not. I'm not even going to talk about it anymore. I got someone mixed up. Move on. I'm a professional. I can't be spreading lies.
You're never wrong. It's a long-standing part. Is that a bit? Is it a bit to be never wrong?
No, it's reality.
Okay. After the match, Matt Bentley returns to TNA. You might say returns.
Gigantic
He was never gone.
Reaction.
So Matt Bentley wasn't on TV this month, even though he was on the last pay-per-view. But Matt Bentley is back. He's back in TNA. He super kicked Chris Sabin and then issued a challenge for Ultimate X at Bound for Glory. He got on the mic. He said, "TNA's my home. Everyone thought I was going up north, but I'm still here."
Up north still being a thing people say in 2005.
Yeah, it reminds me a lot of the Abyss one, where Abyss returned when he was never gone.
Yeah. But, it gets big reactions.
Yeah, and like the story behind it was Matt Bentley asked for $2,500 per match.
Yeah.
And TNA was like, fuck no. Then he asked for $1,500 a match, and TNA were also like, still no, because even $1,500, like only Raven, Jarrett, Kip James, and Sean Waltman are making that kind of money in this company at the moment. Maybe AJ. Mm-hmm. So they're like, no. But apparently, whatever happened, he came to terms.
That's funny. I wonder if he got some talking to from his cousin.
His cousin's like, we're not signing you. Sorry.
But, I'm excited to see Matt Bentley back. And we had some Bentley bouncing.
Oh, the crowd were bouncing to Bentley's theme song. They were excited. Fair play to Matt Bentley, though. Shoot your shot.
Yeah, why not? And he got to stick around anyway, so...
If you're going to ask for $2,500 a match, the only way you'll get it is by asking, even if people might laugh at you.
Yeah. He heard that we got that Spike deal coming up, and he's like,
We'll talk about the Shocker matches in the Chris Candido Memorial Tag Team Tournament, but this match was meant to be Sabin against Shocker based off stuff coming out of that tournament. Shocker, who was said to have been unable to get to the TV taping from a AAA show in Ciudad Medro.
In Ciudad Medro.
Nailed it. The company had purchased a non-refundable plane ticket for him to come in from Mexico. A few days before the show, he called and said, being booked the night before, he was worried he might not be able to get there. The company was already down on Shocker. He was a dusty guy, and he never really lived up to his hype. He had good matches with Shelley, but I don't think anything else he did was particularly notable. Actually, no, he had a great TV match with Sanjay too. So no, I'm Team Shocker.
I'm Team Shocker too. I've enjoyed all of Shocker whenever he's been around.
There was heat a few shows back because he called to cancel a pay-per-view match claiming an injury, but the company was like, you were just wrestling on Mexico. But the Mexican sources are like, that's legit, but he wants to work these shows and he doesn't want to work yours. So...
Well, you know what? Fair enough.
It would have been both difficult and expensive to get him in for the show because of changing the flight, but it was possible. But they were just like, get Roddy in here, move Petey over to Sabin, and then Roddy against Austin Aries, and that job done.
Easy peasy.
It's cheaper to book Roddy than fly in Shocker.
They're like, we're going to take that half of the money that Bentley wanted. We'll put it towards Roddy.